If you've ever watched the news or scrolled through social media, chances are you've seen the same narrative about China's pollution. Smog so thick you can't see the sky, toxic air that makes you choke, and a government that turns a blind eye to environmental destruction. Sounds like a scene straight out of a dystopian movie, doesn't it? But here's the kicker: the truth might not be as black and white as it seems. The Western media has painted China as the world's pollution villain. But is that really the whole story, or is there more to it than meets the eye? In this video, we're gonna dig into the pollution narrative and explore whether China really deserves the bad rap it's been getting. It's time to question everything we've been told and take a deeper look at the pollution narrative. Why is China always painted as the villain when it comes to environmental destruction? And how much of that image is shaped by media and propaganda? If you've ever wondered whether the air in China is really as bad as the headlines say, then this video is for you. Spoiler alert, the reality might surprise you. The pollution narrative, a global perception. Let's set the stage. The mainstream narrative you've probably heard about China is this: it's a country of factories, smog, and environmental chaos. Western media outlets love to highlight pictures of people wearing face masks while navigating through smog-filled streets, or the endless factory smokestacks releasing clouds of smoke into the atmosphere. This image has become so ingrained in the global psyche that most people probably think the entire country is choking on pollution. It's as if the air in China is thicker than a bowl of congee. But here's the thing: China is huge. It's the most populous country in the world with 1.4 billion people. And like any other rapidly developing nation, it's faced challenges with industrialization. Yes, major cities like Beijing and Shanghai have seen severe air pollution due to industrial activity. But focusing solely on these examples gives a skewed picture. What about the thousands of other cities where air quality has significantly improved? What about rural areas where pollution levels are lower? Western media tends to zoom in on the worst-case scenarios and ignore the bigger picture. It's like looking at a few broken windows and claiming the entire house is falling apart. The thing is, not everything you hear about China's pollution is true. Western media tends to pick and choose what it reports. Ever heard of places like Hangzhou or Chengdu? Both have seen major improvements in air quality over the last decade. You're not likely to see that on your evening news, though. That's because, according to the Western media playbook, showing any positive change would ruin the pollution-ridden China narrative. So let's be honest, the portrayal of China's pollution problem is often more about sensationalism than truth. But let's not stop here. Let's look at what China is doing to address these issues and whether the Western media is really telling the full story. China's efforts to tackle pollution. You'd be forgiven for thinking China doesn't care about pollution, given the constant negative media portrayal. But the truth is, China is taking serious action to clean up its act. In fact, it's leading the world in many areas of environmental reform, especially renewable energy. You might not have heard of it in the news because, well, that doesn't fit the narrative. The Chinese government has already made it clear that cleaning up the environment is a priority. China's government introduced its 13th five-year plan for ecological civilization in 2016, which set strict pollution control measures. Over the years, regulations on air pollution have become stricter, with tighter emission standards and the implementation of green technologies. Air quality in major cities like Beijing has improved drastically. A 2019 report showed that Beijing's air quality had improved by 35% over the previous 5 years, thanks to tighter regulations on factory emissions and vehicle standards. But that's just a start. China is investing billions in renewable energy and green technologies. In fact, China is the world's leader in solar power, producing over 70% of the world's solar panels. It's also the largest producer of electric vehicles, EVs, in the world, with an aggressive goal to replace gas-guzzling cars with EVs in the coming decades. And let's not forget China's ambitious goal of carbon neutrality by 2060. That's not just talk, it's backed up by massive investments in clean energy infrastructure and a commitment to cutting carbon emissions by nearly 70% by 2030. When you hear about China's pollution, why isn't anyone mentioning all of this? Perhaps it's just easier to keep playing the bad guy narrative. After all, it's a lot more dramatic to paint a country as a polluting monster than to acknowledge its genuine efforts at reform. And don't get me wrong, there's still work to be done, no one's denying that. But to suggest that China is sitting on its hands and ignoring pollution is simply not accurate. The truth is, China is making rapid progress, but the narrative being pushed doesn't give credit where it's due. The selective reporting of China's pollution. Now, let's talk about the media's love for selective reporting. Western outlets love to focus on the dramatic, polluted air, factory fumes, and the environmental devastation of China's industrialization. But here's the twist. These stories often omit the fact that China has made major strides in curbing pollution. Instead, it's easy to just paint China as an environmental pariah, because let's face it, that makes for a juicier headline. After all, who wouldn't be interested in reading about a country with unbearable pollution and a government that doesn't care? What's rarely mentioned is that the West, too, has its own environmental problems. The US, for example, has some of the worst levels of air pollution in the world, with cities like Los Angeles and New York consistently ranked among the most polluted in the developed world. But you don't hear about that every day, do you? Or take India, which has some of the most toxic air in the world, sometimes even more dangerous than in China. The difference? The Western media doesn't shine a spotlight on those places quite as much. Instead of focusing on the broader issue of global pollution, the media's narrative on China is designed to serve a specific agenda, whether it's geopolitical competition or the need to create a villain in global discussions. The pollution narrative serves as a convenient tool. And while China's air quality has undoubtedly improved, the West continues to amplify the negative without giving credit where it's due. It's like calling someone out for bad grades while ignoring the fact they've worked hard to improve their scores. Not exactly fair, is it? If you're still not convinced, let's look at the way pollution stories are framed. China is the only country in the media's pollution narrative that seems to get consistently blamed for being the world's biggest polluter, while other countries, like India and the US, are let off the hook. The real question is, why? Could it be that there's more to this than just a pollution? Is it about something bigger, like geopolitics? Comparing China's pollution to other countries. Let's put this all into perspective with a bit of data. When we compare pollution levels around the world, China doesn't exactly have the worst track record. In fact, it's not even close. According to the World Air Quality Report, India actually has more cities with dangerous pollution levels than China. In 2021, Delhi's air quality was so poor that it was consistently ranked among the worst in the world. And the US? Well, let's just say that places like Los Angeles and Pittsburgh regularly face air quality problems that would make Beijing's smog look like a light fog. But what does the media do? They selectively highlight the worst of China and ignore the fact that pollution is a global problem. What the media fails to mention is that China's pollution levels are a result of rapid industrialization and the sheer size of its population. China is just bigger, faster, and louder when it comes to growth, and as a result, they have bigger problems to deal with. Let's also talk about the numbers. In 2019, a report from the World Health Organization, WHO, showed that 91% of the global population was breathing air that didn't meet WHO's air quality guidelines. Guess what? China was only responsible for 20% of that pollution. So why is China always the first country to be blamed? Could it be that it's just a convenient scapegoat for the real problem, the global environmental crisis? That being said, China's response has been massive. From improving public transport systems to investing in renewable energy, China has made strides that should be recognized globally. But instead of acknowledging these efforts, many continue to paint a picture of a country that is stuck in the past, drowning in pollution with no way out. Look at the bigger picture. So, is China really as polluted as we're told? The answer isn't simple. While pollution is a problem, it's not as extreme as Western media makes it out to be. China has made significant progress in cleaning up its environment and is investing heavily in green technologies. The real issue is how the media frames the narrative. Instead of recognizing China's efforts, the focus is often on the worst cases. But pollution is a global issue, and China, with its rapid growth and large population, is an easy target. Other countries also struggle with pollution, but you don't hear about it as much. China is actually leading the way in renewable energy, electric cars, and green tech. While it's not perfect, it's doing more than most realize. The next time you see a headline about China's pollution, remember it's not the whole story. Pollution is a global problem that no single country can solve alone. Let's look at the bigger picture and work together to fix it. So what do you think? Do you agree with our video? Share your thoughts and leave your comments below. If you like what you watched, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos.